Hi guys, welcome back. So England 31, Italy 14, an easy bonus point win for England. England were pretty dominant, their set piece was much improved, line out especially, maul as well, big defence. Italy didn't really fire enough shots, so they'll be drastically disappointed after such a good performance last week, coming close to beating France. They've never beaten England, they didn't come close here, so bonus point win 31-14. Let's get into the game, because plenty to talk about. Now, Italy had periods of possession for sure, some good periods of possession, but England's defence was pretty good, and early on we saw some strong counter-rucking from the likes of Itoje, who had a much improved game. He had a very poor game last week. He looked fired up, and he really threw himself around, and he caused disruption, which is what Itoje does at his best. And early on we also saw the punch that Ollie Lawrence was giving from inside centre, something that England haven't had in their midfield for a long time, and he showed he was ready. This was his breakthrough game, I believe. He really punched hard. They used him primarily as a battering ram. He can do other things, but he did it very well. On 4 minutes, we also see early signs that Italy are struggling a bit in the scrum. Certainly technically wise, occasionally they had a few good power shoves, but Genge getting the better of Riccioni there. Lawrence again taking out 10 and 12, and lovely soft hands from Genge to Farrell, who just overcooks the grubber for Malins. And England did get in some really good positions here early in the game, but they definitely grubbered away a few of the good positions as well. And the backline, I felt, didn't really click together. The forwards were really wrecking it sometimes. The backs weren't really clicking at all, so that's something to work on. And England, they've been in good positions in this first 10 minutes, but they're not getting into the flow. They're not getting the phases together yet. But anyway, 10 minutes in, first big chance for England, perfectly positioned scrum about 30 metres out, but Italy's scrum power and an overcooked grubber again dispels that chance. So it's a little bit bitty, although signs that England are growing into this game. Now on 11 minutes, with Morosi going off his feet in a jackal, we see that improved England maul for the first time. They turned down easy 3 points to go to the corner for that one. Italy's defence in the maul was very poor, but it splinters through. Jack Willis crashes over, he absolutely loves it. Early try, 7-0. And I make another note at this point that Itoje's been absolutely on fire for the first 15 minutes. He's completely a different animal, a real physical menace, as England actually smashed the Italians back 25 metres, and they did that a few times in the game where their defence literally drove Italy back a good 10-20 metres. Now on 16 minutes, I'm making a note that England's defence is looking very powerful, but also when it goes out to Malin's side, they do go through him just a bit too easily. I don't think I'm being too harsh on Malins, but defensively he is lightweight, and we saw it a couple of times in this game. There's an easy penalty for Italy. They go into the 22. Capuzzo surges past Ludlam. Now from a resulting penalty, Italy get a cheap 22. Capuzzo surges past Ludlam and nearly gets in, but they're on a penalty advantage anyway. 5 metre line out maul. Again, brilliant disrupting work from Itoje. Strong choke tackle from Willis and Dombrandt. That's a good turnover, and they get a scrum penalty. So nicely dispelled pressure there from England's forwards, doing some hard graft indeed. Now on 22 minutes, once again a promising attack build-up from England, but again it's dispelled early, and I'm not picking on Malins here, but it was a reckless kick chase from Malins that gave away a good position, so he's had a bit of a costly start. On 23 minutes, holy moly, what a tackle, then jackal from Willis. He's been absolutely on fire, one of England's best players on the pitch in this game for sure. He wins the penalty, leads to another strong English maul, marching a good 10 metres. Then a series of penalties for maul infringements. They go to the back on a 5 metre line out maul. Nice throwing from Jamie George. The line out was really slick. Jamie George in his element there with his throws around the park. I'm still not convinced with George, but certainly with his arrows, very good. And just too many penalties for Italy. They get a yellow card, and England need to punish Italy here with a try, so they go for the tap penalty this time. Some really good grunt from Willis. A lovely slip pass from Genge to Chesham. Chesham flies over, 14-0. Well deserved. The England forwards are completely on top, and I make a note that Italy are in big trouble here, 14-0 down. They actually lose their captain Lamaro as well, and he doesn't come back on for an injury. They need to get points on the board quick, or it's going to be out of sight. Jack Willis just so good in the jackal, so quick. Lawrence very powerful. Italy on the ropes. Anyway, so far I make a note here on 34 minutes that whenever the ball's gone wide for England though, they've looked poor. Farrell doesn't really attack the line too quickly. There's some loose passing. Slade didn't have the best game I thought. although a loose pass from Slade is actually picked up by Malins, who steps Menoncello very well. Menoncello pretty bad on the drift, didn't need to drift because there were men. Anyway, he feeds inside to Jack Van Poortvliet, who's under the posts, but unfortunately it's ruled out for Lawrence obstruction, so no try, but decent work there from Malins inside to Jack Van Poortvliet. However, the good news for England is they're under penalty advantage. They go to their strength in this game, the maul, and it's the hooker Jamie George, an old school drive over for the hooker, 19-0. No, that could be the game right there, to be honest. This English pack is just taking Italy apart. Now, towards the end of the half, England are pushing, but again, it's those kicks in the corner that aren't really working for England. A top roll box kick not working out with Farrell fumbling. Anyway, 19-0 at half-time, England in complete command. Now, Italy clearly know they've been disappointing in this game, so they come out in the second half much improved. 18 phases of really good attack. What a difference. Going forwards all the time. England going backwards in defence, and Riccioli goes over for a really nice try. So 19-7, that's exactly how they needed to start. And the game's heating up. It's getting a bit more fire into it. Powerful surges from Ollie Lawrence. Farrell's actually taking the ball to the line a bit better. Some good double pump delayed passes. However, again on 46 minutes, another grubber in behind. I don't know why they're doing this. Maybe they don't trust their backs. I don't know. At this point, I say they need Arundel on the pitch, and he actually comes on very soon after that. And Italy have woken up. It's a proper contest, so that's good. Anyway, 48 minutes, outstanding defensive set from England. Toje Genge flying into the tackles, forcing Italy back, win a penalty, top stuff, 5 metre line out maul, rolls towards the line, taken down illegally, penalty try and a yellow card. That's the killer, and that is the bonus point score there. Jamie George and the line out just absolutely smashing Italy at this point, miles better than last week. Some tactical kicks from Farrell, playing quite nicely now, pinning Italy deep in their own half, and that was Italy's problem in this second half. Even though they played better, England were pinning them back, and Italy were often attacking from deep. Now, talking of England's attack, it's been pretty good hard running lines from the forwards, and Lawrence, they're causing the issues, but still no sign of that passing ingenuity or running play from the English backline. And indeed, as I wrote that note, Ollie Hassel-Collins goes off, who was completely anonymous, as he was in the first game. Really disappointing there. I expected to see more. Henry Arundel is on, and England really need his pace. Capozzo still causing problems and looking class under the high ball as well. He still had a good game, even though Italy didn't, so that's the sign of a good player. Then a bit of dizzy play from Jack Van Poortvliet, who easily gets robbed off the back of a good England maul. Luckily, Toje's on fire, and he comes up with a top steal to rescue that. On 59 minutes, Lawrence, epitomising his great performance, I think he was man of the match, has no right to bust through a tackle as it's not a particularly well set up play, but he just powers straight through, looks like he's in, but great work from an Italian covering tackler who just pops the ball out of his hands with a dive. So that is exactly what England have been missing in their midfield. Top performance from Ollie Lawrence. Now, for a period here, from 50 minutes to 60 minutes, it's just all been England. It feels like the tries are coming, but Italy are hanging tough, and indeed they attack from deep again. It's their magic man, of course, Capozzo, surging up the right wing to finally get out of their half. Too much pace for Malins. Excellent cover tackle from Ben Earl, though, who's fresh on, saves the day. I quite like that as an impact sub. Earl full of running, Jack Willis doing a lot of the hard graft. But then on 62 minutes, a really good try for Italy. Fusco scoring it. It's good quick ruck ball again. Then a note at this point, England have changed both of their props. I think Sinclair had to go off for an injury anyway, but Cole and Vunipola are possibly the slowest two props to bring on. It's a little bit embarrassing, and they're so slow getting into line, even though they're fresh. It does look like they're turning out for a veteran Sunday team. Yeah, it's a bit harsh, but I think it is absolutely fair. Taking Genge off and bringing Mako on, just the difference is ridiculous. They've got to sort that out. Appreciate Cole is good in the scrum, but everywhere else it just slows the game up. And for subs, that's not what you want. But slow props is exactly what you don't want when the game's breaking up. Some of England's players who have started are looking a bit leggy, and there's some holes opening up. Anyway, that's just a note there. It looks like Arundel's going to score, actually, as he always does in a game, but the ref actually quite poor there, blows up for a knock-on before the advantages are being played, but he does get his try. Next, Cole does his thing that he can do well, smashes the scrum, gets a penalty. England go to their thundering maul. Then Mitchell, searching out the gaps, goes across the pitch, takes out 5 Italian defenders, very flat-footed, again looking a bit tired. Offload to Henry Arundel. Of course he scores, because he always does. 31-14. That's what you do against a tiring defence. You bring on a quick scrum half rather than Ben Youngs. I think that was a good call to bring Mitchell on. Anyway, Italy, they've had a better second half, but England's tackles have been thundering in, so strong up front. Another note, they've brought Smith on, moved Farrell to 12. Doesn't help at all. Smith has his first kick charged down, and then a couple of his tackle attempts are just so weak. He hasn't really impressed there. So anyway, the last period of game is pretty messy, but anyway, it's an easy win for England, 31-14. Let me know what you thought of that. I think England certainly showed signs of improving a lot in certain areas, but still lacking in that backline, I believe. Anyway, England go into the 2 rest weeks on a real high. Italy will be frightfully disappointed they didn't make more of a game of that. Let me know what you thought of that game below in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.